Welcome back, everybody. In one of our recent videos, we went through a step-by-step tutorial of how to form a UK limited company at Companies House. And the good news is our application was accepted and we have a new company. And one of the things we've had in the post since is register a business bank account for us in 4 minutes. So given one of the things we've said before is that we need a business bank account, we thought in this video we'll put that claim to the test, run you through the process, give you a review of the CountingUp bank account. But as I say, see if it's actually true and we can get a business bank account set up that quickly. So without any further ado, let's get started. So we're back. We started doing our, as you've just seen, our CountingUp application. It's taken 2 hours to get the bank account set up, which I think, although it said 4 minutes, I think 2 hours is pretty good for getting an application through and getting an account set up.
Absolutely. You're not going to get it any quicker than that. I can't imagine.
Because they do have checks to claim, and in terms of, we knew it wasn't going to be 4 minutes. I think they were more aiming for as we said there, for the application process. It's 4 minutes. It took 10. It's taken 2 hours to come through, and we have. It's actually a day later now. We're coming back to you, and the business card has come through as well, which is great. So it said it would come back in 3 to 5 working days, and it's actually been a day coming through. So I don't know if we've got that. If we've got the card somewhere. Cards come through, which is terrific. As I say, 2 hours, and then as I say, next day the bank card coming through. I think that's pretty good. And as I say, one of the things we've talked about in one of the other videos, which we'd put the link up to here, I think it will be, is just the key things to do after you form your company. And for us, number one, I think we would always say is get a business bank account set up. What we probably should have done a little bit is done some due diligence in terms of which bank account we should set up, and in terms of, we thought it would be helpful just to see what you're actually going to face if you set up an account, as you'll get marketing things through. But have we chosen the right one? And what we're going to run through now is a bit of review, and we're going to do this as a series of videos looking at different bank accounts that we've had experience of, and set up bank accounts ourselves for companies of which is the right one for you. And again, we'll put a link to the overall video that we've got, which is comparing across a bunch of different categories, because some of them will be better suited to your business than others. And one of the things, as I say, we've noticed in just the day that we've had is we've got the card through, but it is a prepaid card. So we've tried to pay for we've got our Google Workspace account, which is our email and storage of. We cannot use it for that prepaid account as a prepaid card to pay for that, which gives us a problem which we didn't necessarily would have wanted. So we're going to run through another few features now, but that is one of the first things. It's a prepaid card, which just without doing our due diligence, we didn't know. So as I say, the prepaid card, and just looking at other things, is one of the other things we realized is CountingUp isn't actually a bank. No. So in terms of, Neil, you're probably better. So why does that matter? Would it matter in terms of things not being a bank?
Yeah, I think, as we'll come on and go through everything, there are some limitations in it not being a bank. And the starting point being that you can't set up on Google to be paying for those things because it's not a bank. And you can't make international payments because it's not a bank. So, that's not to say it isn't going to be suitable for some people, but I think that's what we want to do now, is go through the limitations of CountingUp, but also we'll go through some of the other new challenger banks and the existing banks, where the differences are, so that, like we should have done at the beginning, is done the due diligence and said, actually, that will not work for us. But it would work for a very simple business. But again, there are charges that go with it. And I think that's one of the first things that, with CountingUp, it's £3 a month after the first 3 months to just have the account. But if your monthly deposits exceed £750, then that goes to £9 a month, and if it goes over £7,500, then that goes to £18 a month. And that, you might think, well, if I'm earning £7,500 a month, 18 quid's okay, but actually that's quite expensive when you compare it to some of the other banks, as we'll see.
Yeah, and then one of the other things we noticed, like transfers in and out, there's a 30p charge per transfer in and out. Again, this is free for the first 3 months, and we'll put some more. But if your business involves a lot of transactions, in terms of particularly if in the retail side, 30p a transaction is going to add up.
Yeah,
add up pretty quickly. And as I say, we'll flash up there the pricing that CountingUp have. And again, ATM withdrawals are going to charge you £1 there. Now, free business banking is probably something that's been talked about, and probably UK is quite unusual, I think, from that point of view, in terms of having free banking from that, particularly if you look at the American model from that perspective.
Absolutely.
But the charges are something, is something to bear in mind that's there. And then moving on to the international, the picture gets a bit more complicated as well with CountingUp.
Yeah, so because CountingUp isn't a bank, it doesn't have an IBAN number, and therefore you can't receive or make international payments.
Yeah.
And that's, that again is, for a lot of people watching this video, so what? But for other people, it could be very important, very thing. Now, there are ways around it, whether that's currency fair, whether that's using Wise, Revolut and stuff, but what's the point of having CountingUp if you're then having to go through other banks and other intermediaries? Yeah.
The next one is in accounting software. Now, CountingUp has accounting software built in, which you can use if you've already got a business and you're already established and you're already using accounting software like Xero or Sage or something like that. That is going to be a bit of a process problem. I'm sure there'll be a way around it, but in terms of CountingUp are aiming and wanting you to use their built-in accounting software. So if you're already established something else, that is going to be a consideration for you.
Yeah, and I haven't actually tried to use the software and to know how limiting that is, what's the reporting like in that, and so on. These days most software will have what are known as bank feeds, so the bank is pushing data into your accounting software, which makes the whole accounting much easier. But interesting, I had a little look at CountingUp's file at Companies House, and one of the investors is Sage. So it's quite interesting that the accounting software is quite a big part of their offering.
Yeah.
Possibly more so than the banking side, because they're not a bank. But it's interesting that there's that side of it. We haven't tested the accounting software, so it may be amazing, but I suspect it will be relatively basic, just because of the businesses that are going to find the CountingUp prepaid card appropriate for their business are probably not going to need a very sophisticated accounting software.
And if you don't have if you're not using accounting software at the moment, then it's not going to be a hindrance. But as in, if you've seen CountingUp, you're not happy with your current bank and think, is this worth a try? But if you're already established process-wise, you're not going to get that feed. But the looks of things into there. Next thing is, it's an app only bank. I'm saying bank, it's not a bank, but you can only use the app to manage all your transactions. So in terms of, you're not going to be able to log on your laptop or your desktop or whatever onto a website based thing. I know a lot of people, that's not going to be a problem, but others, particularly when it comes to finance matters, like to be able to, on a bigger screen, particularly as they're doing bigger transactions, like the comfort of being able to see it. So in terms of, that's something again to bear in mind. That might change going forward, but at the moment it is app only.
And that links in, there are no actual physical branches. You can pay cash in if you have that at the post office, but they charge 0.5%, or you can pay it in at a pay point, they charge 3%. And there's no physical branch to go and see someone and help you with any queries or any issues that you have. Customer support is email only.
Yeah. So if you're like, particularly when it comes to finance, if you're looking to speak to someone on the phone, That's not available as it stands, and it's just going to be email. I had an interaction with support. The response was reasonably quick, but as in, if I was under pressure, just send an email. It wasn't instantaneous in terms of, so there was going to be a wait. I think I waited something like 10, 15 minutes to get a response. So the response came. I wasn't in a rush, so it was fine. But sometimes banking matters. You're looking to get some sort of response quicker. So that could be something that might cause you an issue. But as I say, the support, it was good in the interaction I've had so far.
The next thing to say is that because it's an app and it's a prepaid card, there's obviously no credit, there's no overdraft facilities or anything like that you're able to get. And as I said, because of that, because it's not an actual credit card, so therefore Google or whoever can't take the money that they want to charge. So if they want to be certain that the credit's there, so prepaid cards just don't work for that sort of thing.
Yeah. Another sort of minor thing, just I don't know, not many checks floating around these days. I can't remember how many sort of I've dealt with in the last year or two. But as I say, you can't issue or pay in checks in that account, as I don't think that's a big thing for people these days. But sometimes a check comes from something.
Yeah.
But in this case, you wouldn't be able to do it. And we're just going to flick up on here. There are various account limits on the account. And we'll just show the page here. So these as just things to bear in mind. A maximum account balance of 400,000. Let's see, some of the, just as again, the sort of things that you don't automatically look at when you're setting stuff up, but they are there. And as you can see, in terms of if you're doing deposits and things like that at the post office, there's going to be limits to that on a day or transaction basis. Yeah,
there's definitely some restrictions. I mean, one of the things that was, again, not unique to us, but wouldn't necessarily apply to everyone. We've set up a business together. We're both directors of the business, but you can only have one card.
Yeah.
So we can't both be carrying around a card for our business. And again, it strikes me that it's, the fact that the pricing goes up at £750 a month doesn't suggest that they're expecting people earning more than that using it. So it does sort of feel like I need a bank account for something that's more of a hobby than a proper business. You're not allowed to spend more than £10,000 a day on the card. And again, that is, that's a pretty good limit for an individual, one person business that, as I say, of whatever size. But if you are actually going to be bigger than that, then clearly a more sophisticated or bank account or still one of the other challenges.
Yeah. We've gone through a number of things there, and as I say, we've done it deliberately a little bit like this to sort of show how things can happen in terms, as I said, we'd always advocate, number one, you get your limited company set up, you get your business bank account set, organised, etc.
And normally that's because it takes so long.
Yeah.
If you go to one of the traditional big four high street banks, you won't be getting a bank details within a couple of hours. So, fair play to CountingUp for having systems in place and using technology to do their know your customer checks and all that sort of thing. And that's why I would always say opening the bank account is quite, number one on the list, because it is likely to take a little while. And of course, if you're trying to start up, you want to start paying for things or charging people or whatever, you need a bank account to collect it and make those payments.
So as I say, it's the right thing to do. You got to do your due diligence as well. I say a big thing we're aiming for on this channel is in terms of to help you do the things that you need to do, but also try and make the best decisions that you can at the time. And that doesn't mean perfect decisions. I think that's another thing we'd emphasize, is you're just trying to make the best decision in the context. And from our point of view, a criticism with what we've done is we've done the right thing. We've just not done the next step of doing a little bit extra due diligence of, is this the right account for us? And I think it's not going to suit us from that perspective. We've got around a couple of things with the access, with the app, whatever, which I'm sure CountingUp
they won't be happy.
Don't want us wanted to do, but as in, we're two people in a business, we both want access to the finances, to the cards, etc. So that is going to be a deficiency, particularly for this account. for us. So as I say, please check out our other video where we go through a number of the banks, established and challenger, comparing them across different categories to try and help you make the right decision, knowing you want to set up a business bank account, but then choosing the best business bank account for you from the outset. So please go out and check that now. We hope you found this video useful. Let us know in the comments in terms of if you've got a CountingUp account and things that you found good and bad with it. That would be a great help for everyone and ourselves too. And as always, all the very best with your business.